All right, everybody. I'm back today with a 2012 Chevy Sonic LT. It's got this little four banger in here. And what we're going to be doing today is changing out the thermostat and thermostat housing. And this sits in here like so. And it is located right there. So as you can see, there's a series of things we got to get out of the way here. We got to disconnect our two heater hoses, those two clamps right there. And of course, they are facing upside down as usual. We got a electrical connector here. We got another one right here on the thermostat housing itself. And then down below, you can't really see it, so I'll show you on the new one. We have a pipe that connects right there. And if my memory serves me correctly, those are Torx screws that are in there. I'll double check. And then we have this plastic tubing right here that will more than likely crack, and it runs all the way around the back of the engine over to the other side to a rubber hose. So that's where we're at with this. It does have a thermostat code in it. So I'm going to gather some tools together here. It looks like we've got some E-sockets we're going to need here. If you don't know what those are, I'll show you as soon as I grab my tools. And I'll be back. First thing I'm going to do here is get this reservoir tank out of my way. I'll take these two 10mm bolts here loose, which weren't really tight. I'm going to get those off the way and just kind of scoop that off to the side if you can. I think that's all that's holding that in place. Ooh, that's a little warm. We'll just sit that out of the way right up there. As long as it'll stay. Okay, and here's a good look at what we got going on. So my next move is going to be to drain the coolant. I'm going to find the drain cock if there's one on this radiator. If not, I'll just cut the hose loose and have a drain pan up underneath it. And we're going to disconnect this electrical connector here. Just push it, pull up on it, push the little tab right here, squeeze it in. You can see how that raises up, releases. All right, so we got that. And we got one more back down here. And I usually take these cam sensor wires out of the way to make my life a little simpler. But yeah, we want to get that one out of the way. And we'll get the heater hoses there. Get those loose. So I guess my next thing here is to get my pan under here, and we'll squeeze our clamp, get our hose off, and let this drain on out. All right, I got my coolant drained out, and I'm starting to take some of these wiring connectors loose from the bracket right here. This bracket's got a 10mm nut right here that holds it in place. Shit, that's hot. And once we get that out the way, we'll have access to our E10 bolts. And I'm going to show everybody the socket. That's what the E10s look like right here. And this is the socket that you will need for that. I hope that's focusing in. Okay, so I'm going to get this bracket out of here. And then we're going to get our back hoses loose, our two heater hoses there. And get our electrical connector there. Okay, there's our bracket here. And we're just about halfway there. So I'll be back. Heater hose clamp off here. I'm gonna try and get this off. There we go. It's coming off of there. They don't give you a lot of room to work in there. There we go. One down. Just gonna move him up out of the way. And we'll get our second one out of there. Should kind of just twist a little bit. There. I'll take the channel locks and try and twist it around. I'll be back once I've gotten that clamp loose. I've gotten this far in. This bypass pipe here runs over behind the engine and over to the throttle body. Normally there is a squeeze connector on here that you would push and it will release it. You pull it up and release it. Apparently somebody's broke it off before. That probably explains why there's a hose clamp on there holding it in place. So we're going to end up having to break this to get this out of here because we're going to change this out as well. So yeah, once I get that loose, I'll start taking out my E-bolts here, and we got two more down here at the bottom. But before I take those loose, I think I'm going to crack these two Torx bolts. These are the two bolts that I was talking about at the bottom here that I couldn't see earlier. You got one there, you got one there. I don't remember what size they are. When I find out, I will let you know. And I may go ahead and pop this shift linkage out of the way just to get it out of my way. But I'll see how this works out. Torx bolts down here are a T30, and what I'm using is just a Torx driver. There's a tight fit right there by that shift linkage. And we definitely don't want to drop these. Just take our time, get those loose. Alright, I think I'm going to get the rest out by hand. And once I get that pipe out of there, then I'll go ahead and knock these E-bolts loose, and I'll come back at that point. I've got my housing out of there, and these are what the bolts will look like. 4 bolts that hold that housing on. And as you can see, maybe or maybe not, on this pipe, the O-ring is still there. And it looks like it's still intact or sealed or whatever's in there. So we're not going to disturb that. We are going to clean this surface up right here where our housing goes around the seal area. And we're going to get this bypass tube out of here as well. But right now I'm going to stick my new housing back in here and get my pipe connected back up and bolt it back up to the block as soon as up to the head as soon as I clean that surface up. So I'll be right back. You can see I got my new housing just kind of sitting in here. I put the 2 top bolts in and left them kind of loose because I didn't want to have any problems getting this pipe screwed back into the base here. So my suggestion is, if you're going to do one of these, mount your housing, don't tighten it up, leave it so you have some free play back and forth, and should allow you to get these bolts, this one here and this one here, started back into the housing without a hard time. So I'm going to get my other 2, I call them E-bolts, actually like inverted Torx bolts. I'm going to get those started, and we're going to tighten those up, and from there I'll go ahead and put my back heater hoses on there, get the clamps back on there, and I'll come back once I've gotten to that point. Just got my new part here. This is the tube, so I can get it in there. It goes to the top of our housing, around the back of the engine, and then over to the throttle body. So what I'm going to have to do now is get this air cleaner out of here, out of my way, because our connector, excuse me, our clamp is right down here. This is, in fact, this is the hose right here. that's going behind the engine. It's the same right here. So I'm gonna get this air cleaner out of the way. Should be just a matter of pulling this release. Always one. Well, anyway, we got to pull this release tab out a little further, and then we can squeeze this piece here. It's got to come out a little further. Squeeze that piece. And I think these are T30s as well. And I don't know if we're going to take that off down there at the throttle body. We might be able to leave it on, but we're going to take it off up here at least. Unscrew it from there. So I'll be right back. Filters out of the way. Now we got to get this air box out of here. And all that has to be done to get this out is I'm going to pull up, because there is a rubber grommet down there that holds a tit on the bottom of this. And our connection here should come loose, but we've got two more grommets here that the box slides into. So we want to kind of pull it out of those. There we go. And it just comes right out of there. That'll give us better access to our clamp that's right there on our throttle body. So goal now is just to get down in there, get that clamp loose. Let's see if I can do this while I'm holding this camera. I don't know how well this is going to work out. Oh no, I need something a little sturdier than these needle nose. Yeah, I'm gonna put this camera down. I'll be back when I got this off. So I've got most of this put back together. Got my hoses back on, all my electrical connectors. And I ran my bypass line here. If anybody needs to see the route which this thing goes. So it comes off the top of your housing here. It runs along here. Down and up under here. And there's some retainers back here. There's one there. The other one's right here. These little plastic retainers, just like this one here. The line just pops right out of. So I got all of that ran all the way over here to my throttle body, and I'm getting ready to put a clamp on here and put my hose back on, and I'll put my air tube back on there and my air filter and the box and everything over here in this corner. So once I got all of this back together, I will come on back. Excuse me, I just got everything just about buttoned up here. Air filter and all that's back in place. The only thing I got left is to put my reservoir back in, and it'll bolt right there. And we got our overflow hose here to put back on, and we're going to fill it up with coolant. Let it run. I got my scanner around here somewhere so I can check the temperature and make sure the thermostat opens up, runs its cycle. So I will be back once I got this thing running. Alrighty, I've got everything back together on this thing. Got it running and everything is running good. No leaks. Yeah, put everything back together here and he's ready to go on to the next part of the repair. So if this video helped you out any, hit that link for the subscribe button and hit the like button. I will be back for the next one.